Hi, in today's video we'll be covering how you can use the settings menu in Userful to configure Userful correctly or to address specific problems, which we'll be covering. So starting with the General tab, you're going to notice Manage Licensing. This is where you can go for everything to do with licensing. In this case, we have all the relevant licensing information here. So just hit Increase Displays if you wish to increase displays. You will need your activation code that we emailed you, and you'll need to then enter in your total number of the stations that you wish to claim. Following that, please select this button and it will increase your displays. If, however, you wish to upload your license remotely, just hit Replace License, then go Manually Install License File, and you need to choose your given file. After you've chosen your select file, just hit Exit, and you should be all good. If you wish to change the server name to something a little more understandable than Userful-something, you may do so here. Doing so will interrupt your content and will make the video wall go down temporarily. So we recommend that you do this only when you're setting up the system or when you have no use for the video wall at the current moment. Following that, you got Failover Settings, and then we got Remote Control Settings. This is for video wall customers and library and computing customers. A lot of people use this, so we recommend that you check whichever boxes you have available. If you want to use the mouse and keyboard automatically with the interactive viewer, enable this, otherwise disable it. For libraries, we recommend you disable it. For video wall customers, we recommend you enable it. So just click OK after you're done. Following that, we got Performance Settings. Performance Settings is where you go to increase the performance of Userful. Right off the very top, we have Direct Sync, which improves synchronization and frees up CPU resources. The downside of Direct Sync is that it sometimes does not talk correctly to specific EDIDs for specific TVs and monitors, so that will cause random stations to drop. So in that event, make sure you disable Direct Sync. But again, for 90% of customers, enabling Direct Sync is a phenomenal way to increase performance. Following that, we have NVIDIA offload support. If you have an NVIDIA card in your system, we recommend you enable it. We also recommend you use direct code. This drastically improves performance. Lastly, we have display scaling, which basically just takes your content and scales it accordingly. If you disable it, you will decrease performance, but you will increase image quality. So keep that in mind. Moving on, we have broadcast alerts. This is primarily used for library customers. Basically, you just send a message, you choose the length. In this case, we'll just say, hello world. Choose your emergency, choose the length, hit start broadcast. This message will be displayed on all screens simultaneously. So most video wall customers have no use for this. Libraries might, so just keep this in mind. To stop the broadcast, simply hit stop broadcast and then you'll be done. Click the exit button when you're done. Moving that, we have receiver device configuration. In this case, we've selected to manually assign new receiver devices to the Userful server. If you wish to do so automatically, select this option up here and then just hit OK. Moving on to power management. Power management is where you go to change power settings for every single display simultaneously. If you wish to power off displays, you may do so here during specific times. This does depend on the screen itself. Some screens work better than others for power management display, so just keep that in mind. Lastly, we have reboot and shutdown system. Reboot is self-explanatory, just reboots, shutdown, shuts down. Please be careful when selecting these. Now, we're going on to storage management. If you notice, we've actually removed the storage tab on the left-hand side of the UCC, and most of the settings are now here. So please, if you wish to enable USBs, just to upload content or to allow patrons to plug in USBs, you may change that option here. Please select USB storage settings, make sure it's enabled, click OK, and that should be done. With respect to shared files, this is very important for libraries. Please click this, and you're going to want to disable desktop shortcut. For video walls, you're going to want to enable it. It's pretty confusing, but that's how things are. Now for source content settings, this is where you can modify all FTP network access. Finally, we have user management. You can change root password here. There's a video tutorial on how to do that. Root password gives you complete access to the entire system. We generally don't recommend it because you can really botch things, or you can really basically render the video wall unoperational. So please keep that in mind going forwards. If you wish to change the staff password, you may do so here. Or alternatively, this is exactly where you go to create a staff member. It's in the same location. In this case, we've already have a staff member, so it's just called change staff password. And this is where you go to change staff password. But if you create a staff member here, it will basically just ask you, give it a password, repeat the password, and then the user staff will be created. Following that, we have time, location, and language. This is all pretty self-explanatory. Following that, we have time, location, and language. This is all pretty self-explanatory. We won't be covering it here. And then we have system updates and available packages. System updates are where you go to basically install new updates for Userful. So in the future, if you wish to go from 9.10 to another version, you may do so through system updates here. Following that, we've checked for available packages. This is where you go to install additional features or additional packages. So if you wish to install any demo videos, you can do so here. If you wish to install additional software for library customers, you may do so here as well. So just click apply after you selected something, and then it will begin installing. Now, when doing so, this menu will pop up and it will temporarily lock you out. That's okay, because once it's done, you can just click OK, and then everything should be good to go. Lastly, we have network settings. This is where you go to change the network settings of the Userful host itself. So if you wish to change the settings, just hit Edit, and then you'll be prompted with this menu. For manual network config, just hit Manual. For automatic, hit Automatic. If you wish to have the server be a DHCP server, please select this box, otherwise just ignore it. So that concludes today's videos. If you have any further questions, please visit support.userful.com. Thank you.